I tap my phone awake to check the time and notice 3 banking notifications stacked like dominoes. At first glance, nothing seems unusual, just my morning routine, sipping coffee in my small Boise apartment before heading to the office. But as I unlock the screen, my stomach drops. $3,980. $3,980. $3,980. 3 identical charges. Overnight, while I slept, my auditor training kicks in before emotion can take hold. I set my coffee down, the mug making a soft click against the coaster, everything in its place, as always. My face remains perfectly composed, the professional mask I've perfected over 7 years of examining other people's financial disasters. But my hands betray me, trembling slightly as I tap through to the transaction details. American Airlines. 3 separate business class tickets. Purchased at 2:17 a.m. Impossible, I whisper to my empty kitchen. I haven't bought airline tickets in months, and certainly not in the middle of the night. I switch to Gmail, but something's wrong. The password I've used for years is rejected. After 3 attempts, a notification appears. Your password was changed 1 hour ago. A cold wave of violation washes over me. Someone has been inside my accounts while I slept. I tap the Forgot Password option and select Phone Recovery. Within seconds, my phone pings with a verification code. As I reset my password and log in, a notification appears showing the recovery email used for the recent change. p.garcia.mom@aol.com. P. My mother's email. I sit very still, processing this information with the detached precision that makes me good at my job. The evidence forms a clear pattern, but my mind resists the conclusion. Parents don't steal from their children. They just don't. As I scroll through my inbox, I find them 3 airline confirmations, already marked as read. Business class tickets to Maui. 1 for my father, Mitchell. 1 for my mother, Paula. 1 for my brother, Evan. My phone buzzes with a text. My mother's name appears on screen. Thank you for gifting the family their dream trip. I knew you were always generous. I love you. The coffee turns bitter in my mouth. My mind flashes back to last week, when this all began. Mom created the group chat on a Tuesday evening. Garcia Summer Retreat 2026, she named it, as if it was already decided. I'd muted it immediately, but not before seeing her first message claiming I had volunteered to sponsor the trip. The family Zoom call 2 days later had been a disaster. Me at my kitchen table, trying to clear up her misunderstanding, while the rest of the family discussed Maui excursions. Flights are around $860, Mom had announced, her voice sweet but her eyes sharp. Anyone who can't afford it will have to stay home. Zoe, honey, you're the only one still single, with no kids to worry about. I'd maintained my auditor face neutral, unreadable, while calculating how that subtle dig was meant to leverage my singlehood into financial obligation. After the call, I'd messaged her privately. I've made it clear I am not paying for anyone, I wrote, simple and direct. Her response came instantly. Oh, sweetie, you forgot again. You promised your father at Thanksgiving. A lie. A blatant, calculated lie. And now, 3 unauthorized charges totaling $11,940 on my credit card. I take a deep breath, center myself, and call the bank's fraud department. Despite my shaking hands, my voice comes out clear and professional. This is Zoe Garcia. I need to report 3 fraudulent transactions on my account. The representative asks for details, which I provide with methodical precision. When she asks if I know who might have made these charges, I hesitate for only a moment. Yes, I say. This is identity theft committed by a family member. A pause on the other end. Miss Garcia, because you have identified the perpetrator, to proceed with the dispute and protect you, we require you to file a police report. The words hang in the air. Filing a police report against my own mother. The thought makes my chest tight, but I think of the $54,800 in student loans I paid off through years of careful budgeting and overtime work. I think of the small apartment I can finally afford, where everything is organized exactly as I like it. I think of the 3 business class tickets, not economy, at $860 as she'd claimed to the family, but $3,980 each, purchased while I slept. I understand. I tell the representative. I'll file the report today. My phone buzzes again as I end the call. The bank has already notified the airline of potential fraud. The tickets are instantly canceled. Almost immediately, my phone explodes with messages. From Mom. Zoe, what did you do? The airline just called us. From Dad. Call your mother right now. Fix this. From Mom again. We told everyone about this trip. You can't embarrass us like this. I set the phone down, my hands finally steady. Through the window, I see my father's truck pull into my apartment complex, tires screeching as he parks haphazardly across two spaces. He slams the door and strides toward my building, his face already flushed with anger. I know what's coming. The shouting, the intimidation, the same tactics they've always used to get their way. But something has shifted inside me. Perhaps it's the auditor in me seeing the pattern so clearly now. Their two mortgages, the $37,000 in credit card debt I discovered when preparing their taxes last year, the facade of wealth they maintain while living beyond their means. Or perhaps it's simply that they've finally gone too far. I stand up straight, smoothing down my shirt. I check that my phone is recording in my pocket. I prepare to face my father, not as a daughter, but as a victim of fraud with evidence in hand. Later that afternoon, I stared at my laptop screen, the blue light harsh against my eyes as midnight approaches. Sleep isn't an option, not with the weight of betrayal pressing down on my chest. The bank representative's words echo in my mind. We'll investigate, but it may take up to 10 business days. 10 days is too long to wait for answers. I need to understand how deep this violation goes. The forgotten AOL account p.garcia.mom@aol.com stares back at me from my screen. Mom had created it years ago when I left for college, supposedly to stay connected. I'd never used it, considering it just another of her controlling gestures. Now I understand its true purpose. I click through my recovery options on several accounts. There it sits, neatly listed as a backup for Gmail, Amazon, my credit card portal, all added without my knowledge or consent. She kept it active all this time. I whisper to myself, the realization spreading like ice through my veins. She was waiting for the right moment. I switch to my banking portal and begin scrolling through months of statements. At first, nothing jumps out. Then I notice a pattern hidden in plain sight. Small charges. Test runs. A $14.99 transaction at a grocery store I never visit. A $23.45 charge at a gas station in Meridian when I was home in Boise. Each one just small enough to fly under my radar. My phone buzzes beside me. Dad, you'd better fix this by tomorrow. Your mother is devastated. I set the phone face down without responding. The intimidation tactic is so familiar it's almost comforting in its predictability. First comes Dad's anger, then Mom's tearful manipulation. Their strategy hasn't changed since I was 10 years old. Mitchell creates fear, Paula exploits guilt. I open a new document and begin methodically logging each unauthorized access attempt I can find. Dates, times, amounts. The auditor in me takes over, transforming hurt into data points, betrayal into evidence. An email notification pops up, Aunt Virginia forwarding a family message from Mom. I'm so sorry, everyone, but our family trip might be canceled. The economy tickets, $860 each, are selling out fast, and Zoe's having some kind of breakdown about helping the family. Please pray for her. I laugh bitterly. Business class at $3,980 versus $860 economy, a $9,360 difference she conveniently failed to mention to anyone. The lie is so brazen it momentarily takes my breath away. I take a screenshot, saving it to my growing evidence file. Then I notice the email thread below messages I wasn't meant to see. Aunt Virginia hadn't realized they were included when she forwarded Mom's message. Paula. We need to book soon before she changes her mind. Once the charges go through, she won't make a scene. She hates confrontation too much. Mitchell. Her credit limit is high enough? We need 3 tickets. Paula. She's been working overtime for 2 years. Trust me, she has the credit. She'll cave once it's done, she always does. Family obligation is her weakness. I push away from my desk, stomach churning. They had planned this for months, dissecting my finances, targeting my vulnerabilities, discussing me as if I were an ATM rather than their daughter. The next morning, bleary-eyed from lack of sleep, I dive deeper. Bank statements spread across my kitchen table like evidence at a crime scene. Coffee grows cold beside me as patterns emerge with terrible clarity. My parents' financial house of cards becomes clearer with each document I examine. 2 mortgages underwater. Credit card statements showing minimum payments. Collection notices poorly hidden in their desk drawer when I helped organize their tax documents last year. The endless stream of new furniture and clothes and vacations, all to maintain the appearance of success while drowning in debt. And it wasn't just me. Notes in my mother's handwriting about Aunt Virginia's card, helping with a roof repair. A reference to cousin Hannah's contribution to medical bills. My brother Evan's ruined credit score makes sudden, terrible sense. I remember the pride I felt paying off my student loans, $54,800 eliminated through 3 years of brutal overtime, and living on rice and beans. The apartment I saved for, the emergency fund I built. All of it seen not as achievement but as an untapped resource by the people who should have been proudest of me. This isn't about money. I say to the empty room, my voice stronger than I expect. It's about control. I reach for my phone and open my banking app, enabling every security feature available. 2-factor authentication, login notifications, spending alerts. I change every password, using random strings of characters instead of anything personal. Security questions become nonsense answers no family member could guess. Then I create a new email account with a username unconnected to any personal information. I set up password manager apps, digital keys, authentication backups. Each new security wall feels like reclaiming a piece of myself. My phone rings, Mom's face appearing on screen. I decline the call and add a note to my evidence file. 8:42 a.m., third attempt to contact. By afternoon, I've secured every account I own and documented each step of the process. The bank confirms the transactions remain frozen pending investigation. The airline emails confirmation that the tickets are officially canceled, funds to be returned once the fraud investigation concludes. Outside, rain taps against my window. Inside, for the first time since discovering the charges, I feel something other than shock and betrayal. My hands no longer tremble as I organize my documentation. My breath comes easier as I prepare for the confrontation I know is coming. The isolation is still there, the knowledge that I stand alone against the people who should have protected me. But beneath that pain, something else is growing. Resolve. 2 days after the incident, the pounding at my door makes the hinges shudder. 3 thunderous blows, then silence, then 3 more. I have known that rhythm, my father's way of announcing himself, since I was a child. The pause between barrages is just long enough to let dread settle in. I slip my phone into the pocket of my hoodie and start the recording app. Idaho is a one-party consent state. Only I need to know this conversation is being preserved. I take a deep breath and open the door. Mitchell Garcia fills the doorframe, face flushed crimson above his polo shirt. Before I can speak, he barrels past me into my apartment. "What did you do?" His voice bounces off the walls of my small living room. "Cancel the dispute right now. Your mother is crying." I close the door with deliberate slowness, buying seconds to compose myself. "Hello to you too, Dad. Don't you dare get smart with me." He jabs a finger toward my face, stopping just short of touching me. "Fix this now. Call the bank. Tell them it was a mistake." My phone buzzes in my pocket once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. Family messages, undoubtedly. I leave it untouched. "It wasn't a mistake," I say, my voice steady. "Someone accessed my account without permission and charged $11,940 to my credit card. It's for the family vacation. Your mother told everyone you were sponsoring it." I maintain my auditor face neutral, observant. Did she tell everyone the tickets were $3,980 each for business class? Or did she tell them they were $860 for economy? His eyes shift slightly. A tell. What difference does that make? Almost $10,000 of difference, actually. My phone buzzes again. I pull it out, keeping the recording running. 17 new messages in the family group chat. I scan them quickly. Mom claiming I forgot my promise. Aunt Virginia suggesting an emergency family meeting at her house. Cousins expressing disappointment in me. See? Dad points at my phone. "You're destroying the family. Virginia is hosting an emergency meeting tonight to discuss your behavior." I tilt my head slightly. My behavior? Not Mom's behavior in accessing my accounts without permission? Your mother was only doing what you promised. I keep my voice measured, just as I would when questioning a client about financial discrepancies. When exactly did I promise to spend nearly $12,000 on airline tickets? At Thanksgiving, you said. I didn't attend Thanksgiving last year. I was working in Seattle, remember? He waves this away. Whenever it was. The point is, families help each other. When your brother needed bail money last year, I paid it. When your cousin needed her transmission fixed, Virginia covered it. I see my opening. Speaking of Aunt Virginia, how many times have you used her credit card without asking? His face freezes for a fraction of a second, just long enough to confirm my suspicion. That's completely different. He sputters. We've used Virginia's card before. Nobody said anything. She knows how these things work in a family. The admission hangs in the air between us. I wonder if he realizes what he's just confirmed on the recording. Does she know about the roof repair charge for $2,400? I'm guessing, fishing for information. His eyes widen slightly. Another tell. This isn't about Virginia, he says, voice dropping to a dangerous growl. This is about you canceling our vacation and embarrassing your mother in front of everyone. No, I correct him. This is about the $11,940 you and Mom stole from my credit card. We didn't steal anything. He slams his hand down on my kitchen counter. It's family money. Family money would mean I had agreed to spend it, I say. I didn't, and you lied to everyone else about the cost. Economy tickets are $860, not $3,980. Why did you need business class if this was just about family togetherness? His face darkens. You think you're so much better than us with your fancy auditor job and your perfect credit score. You've forgotten where you came from. I remember exactly where I came from, I say quietly. I remember sleeping in the car after the electricity was shut off, because you bought a boat, instead of paying the power bill. That was one time. He steps toward me, fists clenched. I stand my ground. Leave now, or I call the police and play this recording. The color drains from his face as he glances at the phone in my pocket. You wouldn't. I already filed a fraud report with the bank, I say. Police report is next. Your choice if you want to be here when the officers arrive. He stares at me for what feels like minutes, rage and disbelief warring on his face. Then he turns and yanks the door open. Your mother and I gave you everything, he says, his voice suddenly tired. This is how you repay us? The door slams behind him. I lock it, then slide down against the wall until I'm sitting on the floor. My phone buzzes again. Aunt Virginia's name appears on the screen, not in the group chat, but a private message. Zoe, what's this about your mother making charges on my card? I've been reviewing my statements and found some transactions I don't recognize. Before I can answer, a text from Cousin Hannah arrives. Hey, did Aunt Paula ever borrow your credit card? She used mine for what she said was a medicine emergency last month, but I just got billed for $1,100. The pattern clicks into place. I'm not the only victim, just the first to speak up. My hands shake slightly as I dial the non-emergency police number. The dispatcher connects me to an officer who takes my information with professional detachment. I provide dates, amounts, and the name of the bank's fraud department contact. The officer assigns my case a number, #81 ID. We'll be contacting Mr. and Mrs. Garcia for a statement. She tells me. The bank has already provided preliminary documentation of the unauthorized access. I thank her and end the call, just as notification from my bank appears. Fraud investigation complete. Disputed charges $11,940, reversed. Funds will appear in 2 to 3 business days. Almost immediately, my phone lights up with incoming calls. Mom, Dad, Mom again, Dad again. I silence each one, watching them stack up in my missed calls list. For the first time since discovering the charges, I allow myself to cry. Not from sadness, but from a complex tangle of emotions I can't quite name. Relief, vindication, grief, resolve, all washing through me in waves. When the tears subside, I open a blank document on my laptop and begin typing a letter to my parents. 3 paragraphs in, I delete it. Some things can't be fixed with words. Instead, I open my journal and write. Financial boundaries are emotional boundaries. Love cannot exist without respect. The words feel right, a simple truth I should have recognized years ago. I spend the next hour organizing documentation, screenshots of the fraudulent charges, the email recovery attempt notification, text messages from my parents, and a transcript of the recorded conversation with my father. I save everything in triplicate local storage, cloud backup, and an encrypted email to myself. My phone buzzes with a notification about the emergency family meeting at Aunt Virginia's house tonight. Rather than dread, I feel a strange sense of calm. The burden of secrecy has lifted. The pattern is exposed. I connect my phone to a small Bluetooth speaker and test the audio quality of my father's recorded admission. His voice fills my living room with crystal clarity. We've used Virginia's card before. Nobody said anything. I pack the speaker in my bag alongside printed copies of the bank statements and police report. The emergency family meeting won't go as they expect. For the first time in my adult life, I'm walking into a family confrontation with more than just my word against theirs. I have evidence, allies, and the power that comes from knowing exactly where you stand. Time to break the cycle, once and for all. On the family emergency day, I park 3 houses down from Aunt Virginia's colonial-style home, my hands steady on the wheel. I've arrived exactly on time, not early enough to be ambushed alone, not late enough to be accused of drama. The recording device in my phone is tested and ready. I check my reflection in the rearview mirror and adjust my expression into what my colleagues call my auditor face, neutral, composed, revealing nothing. Remember why you're here? I whisper to myself, gathering the manila folder containing printed copies of the credit card statements. The evidence speaks for itself. 3 charges of $3,980 each, totaling $11,940. The moment I step through Aunt Virginia's front door, 13 pairs of eyes swing toward me. The living room falls silent, conversations cutting off mid-sentence. They're arranged in a loose semicircle, like a firing squad waiting for the command. I recognize the setup immediately. They've been thoroughly briefed against me. In the center sits my mother, tissues clutched dramatically in her hand. Her eyes are red-rimmed, mascara carefully smudged for maximum effect. Dad stands by the door, arms crossed, blocking the easiest exit. The message is clear. No one leaves until this is settled. She's here, Aunt Virginia announces unnecessarily, her voice tight with discomfort. She gestures to an empty chair positioned directly across from my mother, the hot seat. I take it without hesitation, placing my folder on my lap, and wait. The first rule of auditing: let the subject talk. People revealing their own inconsistencies is always more effective than pointing them out. Honey, my mother begins, her voice wavering with practiced vulnerability. We're all so worried about you. I remain silent, my expression unchanged. I don't know what's wrong with her, she continues, addressing the room while dabbing at dry eyes. Her audit job is too stressful. The pressure has been building for months. My cousin Brandon leans forward. Zoe, your mom says you've been having memory problems, forgetting conversations, promises. Financial stress does terrible things to the mind, Aunt Virginia adds, right on cue. I notice Dad shifting his weight, moving slightly closer to the door. Textbook intimidation positioning. Do you understand how much you've hurt your mother? My 19-year-old cousin Melissa asks, her voice dripping with the self-righteousness of someone who's been promised a free vacation. She's been crying for days. She's been crying. I catalog each accusation mentally, watching the pattern unfold. The younger relatives make me feel guilty. The older ones question my stability, all orchestrated by my mother's expert conducting. Paula dabs her eyes again. We just want to understand, sweetie. You seemed so happy to help with the family trip. Then suddenly, her voice breaks perfectly. You even called the police. There it is, my opening. Would you like to know why I called the police? I ask, my voice calm and clear. The room goes completely still. Without waiting for an answer, I open my folder and remove the credit card statements. I pass copies to Aunt Virginia and Uncle Robert, the family's unofficial leaders. These are my credit card statements showing 3 charges of $3,980 each, totaling $11,940, made at 2:17 a.m. while I was asleep. I keep my tone professional, as if presenting findings to a client. They were purchased using my Gmail account, which was accessed after my password was changed. The recovery email used was p.garcia.mom@aol.com. My mother's face flushes. Those numbers can't be right. The airline confirmed these were business class tickets, not economy tickets. At $860 as you told everyone else. I continue as if she hadn't spoken. The police report number is #81ID, if anyone would like to verify. Uncle Robert's eyes widen as he studies the statement. Business class? Paula said economy was already stretching the budget. That's not. My mother begins, but Aunt Virginia interrupts her. Paula, you say that. She pauses, her expression shifting as pieces click into place. Last year you were nice enough to help me set up my online utility payments. After that, there was a $2,400 charge for roof repair I never authorized. The room temperature seems to drop 10 degrees. Cousin Hannah looks up from the statements, her face pale. Last summer, after you borrowed my card to buy groceries when your purse was stolen, there was an $1,100 charge from a medical clinic I never visited. My mother laughs, the sound brittle and false. Everyone makes mistakes with online payments. You can't possibly think. I think we should all check our statements, Aunt Virginia says firmly, pulling out her phone. Dad steps away from the door, anger replacing intimidation. This is family business. You're all overreacting to a simple misunderstanding. A misunderstanding of $11,940? Uncle Robert asks, his voice dangerously quiet. My parents exchange glances. Mom stands abruptly. We should discuss this at home, Mitchell. But as they move toward the door, Uncle Robert steps into their path. I think we need answers first, Paula. I reach into my pocket and remove my phone. You don't have to believe me, I say, connecting it to Aunt Virginia's Bluetooth speaker. Believe, Dad. I press play. My father's voice fills the room. We've used Aunt Virginia's card before. Nobody said anything. My mother's face turns white. Dad freezes in place, hearing his own words played back to him. That's not what I meant, he stammers, but the damage is done. Aunt Virginia rises from her chair and walks over to stand beside me. This stops today. Cousin Hannah retrieves her purse, pulling out her own financial records. I have 3 misunderstandings here that match Paula's shopping trips. My brother Evan, who has been silent until now, clears his throat. They destroyed my credit score. It's 520 now because of loans I never took out. One by one, family members begin to share similar stories. 3 generations of victims comparing notes, patterns emerging across 2 decades of financial manipulation. My parents retreat to the corner of the room, former allies edging away from them. The united front they'd carefully constructed crumbles before my eyes. I'm sorry I doubted you, Aunt Virginia says quietly to me. We should collect everyone's evidence. I'll testify if you need me to, Uncle Robert adds, his lawyer's mind already cataloging the offenses. My mother's tears have vanished completely. Her eyes are cold, calculating, searching for an escape route. Dad's bluster has deflated, replaced by stunned silence as he watches his wife's manipulation tactics fail for the first time. Mitchell, she hisses, say something. But he remains silent, the weight of exposure crushing his practiced intimidation. I watch as the first visible cracks appear in their united front. How could you record me? 10. He finally manages, attempting to redirect blame. Idaho is a one-party consent state, I reply calmly. Only one person in a conversation needs to consent to recording. I consented. We need to establish clear financial boundaries, Aunt Virginia announces to the room. Starting today. My parents exchange glances, fear replacing confidence as the true consequences of their actions begin to take shape. They've lost control of the narrative, and with it, their power over the family. The facade that took decades to build has crumbled in less than an hour. I remain seated, my auditor face finally revealing a trace of satisfaction. The tables have turned, and for once, the manipulators are the ones with nowhere to hide. 2 days later, I spotted them the moment I pulled into the company parking lot. My parents' silver Lexus, the one with 2 years of payments left on a 7-year loan, idles near my reserved space, engine running despite the mild spring morning. Mom sits in the passenger seat, her back unnaturally straight, while Dad drums his fingers against the steering wheel. They've been waiting. My stomach tightens, but I keep my face neutral. The auditor face. I park 3 spaces away and gather my things, taking my time. Through my windshield, I watch Mom nudge Dad. He kills the engine, and they both step out. Zoe, Mom calls, her voice honeyed with false cheer. Honey, we need to talk. I lock my car and walk toward the building entrance, briefcase in hand, as if I haven't seen them. My coworker Jill passes by, offering a quick wave before disappearing through the glass doors. Mom intercepts me halfway across the lot, Dad trailing behind her like a reluctant shadow. Her mascara is perfect, but the skin beneath her eyes looks paper thin. She's lost weight since the family meeting 2 weeks ago. Please, she whispers, glancing around to ensure no one can hear. Just 5 minutes. I check my watch. I have a meeting at 9. This is important, Dad interjects, his voice lacking its usual thunder. Mom reaches into her designer purse, the one she bought after maxing out her Nordstrom card last Christmas, and pulls out a stack of papers. I recognize the bank letterhead immediately. Home equity line of credit application. 401k early withdrawal forms. They're financial lifelines. Listen, Mom says, her voice dropping even lower. The bank is demanding $11,940 by the end of the month. We just need you to make one phone call to the fraud department. Her fingers tremble slightly as she clutches the papers. Tell them you made a mistake, that you authorized the charges. I stand perfectly still, watching the desperation play across her face. We'll pay you back, Dad adds, eyes darting toward the office building. We swear. We just need time to get the money together. You know I can't do that, I reply, my voice flat. Filing a false police report is a crime. Mom steps closer, perfume enveloping me like a toxic cloud. Think about what this means, Zoe. Your father and I might not be at Thanksgiving this year, or Christmas. She reaches for my arm. You'll be all alone. Is that what you want? I step back, breaking contact. 2 more coworkers walk past, casting curious glances our way. Your choice affects all of us, Dad says, his voice hardening slightly. What will your cousins think? Your aunts and uncles? That you'd throw away your family over a misunderstanding? A misunderstanding? The word tastes bitter on my tongue. Mom's eyes narrow, calculating. What about your work friends? I'd hate for them to get dragged into our family drama. She nods toward the building. People talk, you know, especially when they hear about ungrateful daughters who abandon their parents. Her words hang in the air between us, the threat unmistakable. You're almost 30, Zoe. She continues, voice softening to a maternal tone that once would have made me fold. No husband, no children. We're all you have. Family sticks together, through everything. More coworkers filter past us. I recognize Martin from accounting and Sarah from HR. They try not to stare, but I can feel their curiosity. My professional reputation, the careful boundaries I've maintained between work and personal life, suddenly feels fragile. For a split second, doubt creeps in. The consequences of standing firm stretch before me. Holiday tables with empty chairs, whispered office gossip, the crushing weight of being the one who severed ties. My hand tightens around my briefcase handle. Then I remember the recording, the bank statements, the pattern that stretches back years, the $11,940 they stole while I slept. I look directly into my mother's eyes, then my father's. You don't owe me, I say, each word precise and clear. You owe the bank. Get out of my way. Mom's face transforms. The mask of maternal concern drops completely, revealing something ugly and raw beneath. Her lips pull back in a snarl. You think you've won? She hisses, voice rising sharply. You will regret this. You will never have a family again. You will die alone. You ungrateful child. Her words echo across the parking lot. Several of my coworkers freeze, staring openly now. Dad grabs her arm, trying to pull her back, but she yanks free. After everything we've done for you, her voice cracks with rage. This is how you repay us? I don't respond. Instead, I walk past them, my steps measured and calm. Behind me, I hear Dad's urgent whisper, Paula, stop. People are watching. The office doors slide open. I step inside without looking back, leaving my parents frozen in the parking lot, the morning sun illuminating the ruins of their carefully constructed facade. 3 days later, a certified letter arrives at their address. My lawyer's name embossed across the top, the words, Cease and desist in bold beneath. Attached is a copy of police report, #81ID, detailing identity theft by a family member. The final paragraph warns of criminal prosecution, should any further contact be attempted. The bank begins its collections process directly with Mitchell and Paula Garcia. No longer my problem. I've submitted everything. The comprehensive documentation, the police report, the recording transcript, my credit history showing the pattern of unauthorized access. 7 years as an auditor taught me to be thorough, to follow the paper trail wherever it leads, even when it leads to my own parents. News travels quickly through the family. Aunt Virginia calls to tell me my parents have canceled their country club membership. Cousin Hannah mentions seeing Mom at the grocery store. No designer purse in sight. Uncle Robert reports that Dad's furniture store has cut its hours. Their financial house of cards is collapsing, one card at a time. The bank files a lawsuit for the unpaid debt. The fraud case triggers cross-default clauses in their other loans. Their credit score plummets. Mortgage lenders begin reviewing their loans, questioning the income verification on the original applications. I don't feel vindication. Just a quiet certainty that consequences, long deferred, have finally arrived. 4 weeks after the parking lot confrontation, my phone rings. Aunt Virginia's name appears on the screen. I hesitate before answering. "Zoe," she says, her voice careful. "I thought you should know. Your parents have listed their house for sale." I sit at my kitchen table, the same spot where this all began, with 3 unauthorized charges, and absorb the information. "Are you okay?" she asks after a moment of silence. "Am I?" The family has fractured along fault lines that were always there, just hidden beneath the surface. Some relatives have stopped speaking to me entirely. Others, like Aunt Virginia, have become unexpected allies. The future stretches before me, holidays and celebrations that will never be the same. I don't know, I answer honestly. I'm figuring it out. We talk a while longer. As I hang up, I notice my hands are steady. No trembling. Not anymore. I stand at my kitchen window, morning sunlight filtering through new privacy blinds as I wait for my coffee to brew. 7 months since everything changed, and small rituals like this still feel like victories. My apartment, once just a space I maintained, has become a sanctuary. The new security system panel glows steadily by the door, a constant reminder that I control who enters my life now. Behind me, my desk holds neatly organized folders, a testament to the financial literacy workshops I've been developing. My calendar hangs beside it, next Tuesday circled in bold red, debt-free celebration, with 3 exclamation points. The final payment on my car loan, the last debt I carried, went through yesterday. My phone chimes with a message from Evan. Credit score hit 640 today. Thank you, Z. I smile, remembering his face when I offered to help him rebuild after our parents' financial manipulation had destroyed his credit. Another text follows from Cousin Hannah, asking about Sunday dinner at Aunt Virginia's. This new family we've cobbled together feels real in a way the old one never did. The coffee maker beeps. I pour a cup and sit at the same kitchen table where I discovered the fraud 7 months ago. Same table, same mug, but the woman holding it is unrecognizable from that morning. My banking app shows a healthy savings account instead of fraud alerts. A notification pops up. Credit score. Excellent. 812. I remember how I once hid this number from my parents, knowing they'd see it as an asset to exploit, rather than achievement to respect. I open my journal, running my fingers over yesterday's entry. Financial boundaries are emotional boundaries. I see that so clearly now. What I thought was my weakness, being unable to just help family, was actually my strength. Real love cannot exist without respect. The doorbell rings precisely at 9. Evan stands there, grinning, holding up his phone with his credit report displayed. "I didn't believe it would work," he says, following me inside. "Dad always said credit was something you just had to use until you couldn't anymore." "That's what they needed to believe to justify their choices," I reply, pouring him coffee. "Financial literacy isn't magic, it's just work and consistency." He nods, settling into what has become his chair. The kids' college funds are set up. First time I've saved money in my life. "How does it feel?" "Weird," he laughs. "Good weird." He pauses, stirring his coffee. "Remember when Dad would take us to that expensive steakhouse every time the credit card bills arrived? Mom would complain about money the whole way there." I laugh, something I couldn't have done months ago when thinking about them. Their logic was so twisted. Spend money to feel better about not having money. My phone rings, Aunt Virginia confirming Sunday dinner. We're planning a small gathering, just the five of us who formed this new family circle built on choice rather than obligation. Last month, she proposed a toast. To family we choose, not family we tolerate. The words have become our unofficial motto. Tomorrow, I'll lead my third financial literacy workshop at the community center. I tell an anonymous version of my story, helping others identify the red flags I missed for years. Turning my pain into protection for others gives purpose to what happened. My boss called yesterday about the senior auditor position apparently. My handling of the fraud case demonstrated exceptional integrity under pressure. Life reshaping itself in unexpected ways. I close my journal thinking of what I'll write tonight. You cannot love without respect. You cannot respect without boundaries. Some lessons are worth every penny they cost to learn.